For some people, this music brings back over 10 years of memories. Maybe some of frustration. For others, it's the sound of a dead game that stole content from its players and became a mess of bugs and $100 yearly expansions. But for me, I hear the sound of a game that is truly one of a kind. A game that tried to be so many different things for so many different people. And although it did succeed at times, that doesn't mean it doesn't continue to fail with every passing launch. Destiny is probably one of my favorite games of all time. And for all of its flaws and shortcomings throughout the years, the times I fell away from its addictive cycle and infectious world, I don't think I can ever truly walk away from something that has genuinely been such a large part of my gaming life. Which is why I want to talk about Destiny itself stepping away, and the possibility of creating something new. Something created truly from the ground up to accommodate the player base that Bungie curated with this world. I want to talk about why we truly need a Destiny 3. Alright. I can already feel the glares through the screen, and I know this is an absolute pipe dream, but it doesn't mean we shouldn't talk about it. And I want to add a big disclaimer. I'm not a game dev. I don't know what would be best for them and their workflow and how they actually want to move forward with the game. I don't know what is best for every single player of this game because there are so many different facets of this community. And I want to be very clear that multiple times in this video when I'm talking about making changes, at no point is my argument just switch the engine, go to a new engine. But to even start a conversation about do we need a Destiny 3, we need to look at the mess that got us here in the first place, Destiny 2.
Battle stations!
The successor of the original title and the platform we've been on now for over 7 years, it's no secret that the game is being pushed to its limits. Vault space is causing tower load times to grow exponentially. New implementations to the game consistently break other parts of it. 393, solid when I'm 402. Yeah, almost 10 below. And day one raid combatant deltas are accidentally being increased, ruining the day one experience for many players.
Shit is demoralizing, to say the least.
It just seems like the game have acquired so much technical debt that it's starting to fall apart at the seams. Not to mention all of the systematic issues with gameplay, but we're getting ahead of ourselves. First and foremost, we need to talk about what Destiny is. It's a looter shooter with MMO elements and an extremely jaded but passionate community, and being frustrated with the game state and Bungie is entirely warranted.
I'm back and we ranting W. Isn't a Destiny 2 stream if at some point in the day we are not ranting about what the fuck is wrong at least one time? Even when we have a good day, finish the raid, we do whatever we're doing, come back to the tower, and we do our laps. You know, you do the tower laps and you rant about what's fucking pissing you off in the game.
Players have been asking for meaningful change for a very long time, and it shows in constantly dropping player numbers. The game has trouble reaching and holding on to new players. Even if you do try the game out, good luck figuring out what to do without looking it up or having someone guide you through it. Which brings us to the first issue that you hit when trying out the game: the new player experience.
Think of it as training, Guardian. You can only get stronger from this.
If you were a new player in the Destiny franchise, the first thing you'd be met with is a character creation screen.
What the fuck?
And then an intro cutscene, which in my opinion shows you way too much of the story.
Out here in a flying butt plug.
But all things considered, pretty standard. However, after this, you are half handheld through lazy level design that isn't fun or engaging in any way, left in the dark about many of the complex systems in the game, eventually sent to the tower, and for all intents and purposes, left in the wild to be confused and probably just get off of the game.
Fantastic work.
I don't know what I was thinking.
Given it takes a decent amount of time just to unlock the game's core functionality, for all that time, it didn't ever give you a reason to come back.
Like, but also like what? Like, oh no!
And to highlight how bad this issue truly is in-game, I subjected 2 of my friends who play wildly different games to go through the introduction live on my stream. One of those being my friend Johnny, who is more of a arcade shooter and sports game person.
Never trust this guy to spot Ribbon's eyes, I see. Listen, Johnny plays Madden, okay? That's why we had to bring someone in that's outside of this shit.
Oh, back the fuck up.
And on the other hand, my friend Xavier, who plays things like Valorant and Elden Ring.
I think he just missed the grenade thing. That was.
We don't talk about it. We don't talk about it. Shut up. Shut the fuck up.
And while they've had a little bit of experience with Destiny before, Johnny has only hopped on to play a couple of strikes with us, and Xavier just played D1, like before taking King D1.
Guardians live for moments like these. Finish it.
Oh, well, that would have been... Oh, okay. Would have been nice to know what any... Okay. Sure. I don't know.
Now do it again.
RB press using when melee energy is full to perform a charged melee. Okay.
I want more, Guardian.
What the fuck is that?
Fucking what? Brother man.
This is fucking purple box stuff.
Magnificent. Now
As a
stay
guardian,
focused.
you gained access to the untapped potential of the light. Light subclass, place your cursor over the active subclass. A lot going on. Why are they like throwing so much at me though? Like at one, like, could I like process one fucking thing before they like throw another thing in there?
Am I doing more of this? Okay, cool. I think it's funny that I don't even need to destroy whatever the fuck this is. I can
Passion
just
for hard work.
kneel by the fucking hip bone.
Fight until there's
That's-
nothing left.
How the fuck did you get hit but you didn't?
Yo! Oh man, you see what's going on? Oh.
Let's see if he figures out what the purple boxes are.
Oh, who's this motherfucker? Fucking Warrior Wolf. Hope Juice? Hey, yo.
Cool, these are bounties. I guess I'd take these. And it requires a thing that I don't have. Yep, you're trying to get me to spend my money. I said, no, sir. You can't have my money.
This is
Fuck
it.
you looking at me for?
Show me what you've got.
Who's your gun, bro? What the fuck is this?
Guardian, we have to go.
Where? Track the signal. Get my loot real quick though.
Cool. Now there's a fucking, but it disappeared. But it was there. So I mean, thank you, I guess, for popping up for a second. Oh, it's on the mini map as a small little triangle or little arrow, but not just in the HUD. Is it on the map? Does it can't be that, right? 'Cause okay, yeah, sure, dude.
One final push, Guardian. That's all I ask. Do it.
Chat, make a deal with me. If he gets to the Navoda strike and he's still just using primary ammo halfway through, I tell him to use his other guns. I don't even know. I don't know if he knows how to get to his rocket.
Oh my god, I need one more. No, no!
Okay, little. Oh! I'm so proud of you for finally pulling out that rocket launcher.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I realized it was the last. I realized it.
Me and chat the whole time we're just like, bro, this dude really likes his scout rifle.
Nah, I really don't. I really don't. I'm not even gonna lie.
How long have we been doing this? Like an hour and a half?
2 hours.
Oh, fuck.
So now, as you've seen and heard, while the game throws a million things at you in the first 10 minutes of playing, gives you a heavy weapon and never even tells you about it, and provides no engaging way to learn the game systems, after spending a few hours doing that, why would anyone come back?
Do you think they really spent enough time on explaining the sandbox to you, or?
I mean, I didn't really I didn't even know how to pull out the fucking rocket launcher.
I mean, from the way that I talk about the game and how much you see me playing it, do you feel like you got that experience and you saw the potential of having that experience through what you played? Be brutally honest.
I don't think so. Like, I don't know if I even would have got to this point.
So to fix this problem, Bungie developed something that isn't so much a solution as much as it is a workaround. With the release of Edge of Fate, the most recent Destiny expansion, Bungie decided to create something new. This is now the first thing a player will see when they go to orbit after playing that godforsaken tutorial that is still in the game. And while it does a better job at pointing new players and returning players in the right direction, it presents several new issues and highlights prior existing ones. Welcome to the way that Bungie wants you to play the game, the Portal. The main goal of the Portal is to present players with rewarding activities to replay, that being solo ops, fireteam ops, pinnacle ops, and crucible ops, which works very well with the new stat system and systematic changes since the release of Edge of Fate. On top of giving us a new power grind and a reason to want new gear via soft sunsetting, the Portal theoretically allows you to choose how you work through that power grind. And the key word there is theoretically. One of the major issues is that there are whole categories of content missing from the Portal, and anything that isn't in it doesn't drop even halfway decent gear.
Like, do we just do the raid? The raid just won't even drop anything. Still 401. I'm at a loss. I'm about to grind the fuck out of solo ops or crucible,
including every piece of endgame content in the game. The only raid that drops new gear is the newest one added with this expansion, and even that drops tier 1s, which if you don't know, is the lowest form of gear in the game, unless you're talking about old gear, which is what all of the other endgame content drops. On top of this, they also removed Grandmaster Nightfalls from being a replayable activity that you could do every week to farm and get good gear, and replaced it with Conquests, which you can play once per season. You did not mishear me. And yes, Bungie did walk this back and make it to where these are now replayable, but that also doesn't change the fact that the featured exotic list exists, which limits the build crafting potential of the entire sandbox. And I understand that in a perfect world, this is a good way to allow us to replay the content that we really enjoy and use that to level grind and get rewarding gear. From the moment you are going to introduce a system like this, you should have covered all of the bases. Raid loot should have been revamped, that's why endgame content didn't become useless. Dungeons and raids are some of the best content this game has to offer, and it's very obvious that Bungie wants us to use the Portal over going to the destination tab to find what activity we want to play. So much so that they removed all of the color from it? Why did you do that? And yeah, I know it was changed back, but the message was very clear. Either way, why are none of the dungeons or raids included in an endgame ops tab? And why aren't there more pinnacle ops to play with your friends? Why is fireteam ops the worst place to get loot in the game? And why is everyone on Caldera and K1 logistics for 12 hours a day?
They ask you how you are, and you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because
what the fuck is going on?
Because the power grind takes so long, and knowing that it's going to reset back down to 200, the whole gameplay loop has devolved into just playing solo ops for hours on end. And while I have a lot of complaints with the new system, the new gear, the power grind, I don't think it's all bad. In terms of the soft sunsetting that happened with all of our gear, I totally think this was the right move. Armor was at a state in the game where if I got it, I just instantly dismantled it and had no reason to chase after it after a certain point. And updating how the stats work in the game and changing how it drops on armor is a great way to make us go out and want to find new armor. On top of set bonuses, which are going to be ever changing, so that in 2-3 seasons down the line, we may want tier 5 armor and have to do that level grind and want good rolls of specific armor again. On top of this, the portal has a rotating suite of gear that is a guaranteed drop for specific activities, which is a great way to incentivize players to play different activities and not just do solo ops. But because of the way the portal system works and the way it drops gear, it's also impossible to get any of the gear associated with the reprise content that we got within it. The coil and Starcross don't drop Season of the Wish weapons. The Whisper won't drop Whisper of the Worm, although Encore drops Choir of One? What is going on? But because of the 6-month time restriction on getting reset and the fact that it is so painfully long just to get to the point where you start getting tier 4s or 5s even from endgame content, everyone just flocks to the fastest and most efficient way to level, which is solo ops. All of the other content in the game is not as rewarding and does not help you level. This was recently addressed, but all they did was nerf solo ops and make fireteam ops ever so slightly more rewarding, when we just needed solo ops to be how it is and fireteam ops just needed to have more. Bungie's design philosophy around the portal makes sense, but quickly falls apart when we saw players grinding Encore because it was dropping a lot of loot. That philosophy supposedly being, play your way, until you do. Which Bungie will swiftly reply with, no, 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 not that way. And then remove Encore from the game.
Goodbye, Commander.
What did we name our daughter?
I truly think the portal could be a good way for replayable activities staying in the game and also making them rewarding for the player. They just need to get the balance right. But as it stands right now, the power grind and the result of the portal lead to an extremely boring, painful, and isolating gameplay loop that feels like it runs counter to the core concepts of Destiny's design. And speaking of things running counter to the design of this game and how the community wishes to play it, Bungie seems more disconnected than ever. After trying to make multiple changes to make the experience of the level grind and playing activities through the portal better for players, it seems blatantly obvious that Bungie maybe just doesn't understand what we want out of this experience.
Okay, we're putting...
Let's go, guys. I've gone up 1 power level.
Even looking at the multiple changes they've already made since releasing the portal, and the power increase that we got from the Ash and Iron major update, it was mine and many others' understanding that leveling from 400 to 500 with the level increase would be very similar to leveling from 300 to 400. But for some reason upon launch, instead of moving the bracket of difficulty for leveling and having just the 50 levels at the end be more difficult but not as difficult as we saw with the release of Edge of Fate, they decided to say, let's make 150 levels this way. Players that were nowhere near the level cap had to play on combatant deltas of -60 or 70, which is insufferable, just to have a chance to get one piece of gear that was 1 level higher. That doesn't feel rewarding in any way, and most players just got off of the game the day of the update. One of those players being myself.
I didn't even get one piece of gear that leveled me up.
Me either.
And I got A. What?
And although Bungie has admitted that some of the decisions they've made have not been the best, it is still widely unclear what they want leveling to be like in this version of the game. And at this point, I don't even know what is supposed to happen in-game anymore. I know this game has not had the best history of launch day being the smoothest thing in the world, but I didn't expect to open up the door of a fucking clown car with an endless string of bugs, mistakes, and poor decision making. Bungie, what is going on?
I was going to start leveling because we were supposed to be getting all these leveling changes, but then we get into the game and it's not like that. But then that was what's so crazy. I was like, okay, Bungie forgot to implement these changes that they said they were going to implement. But then they came out in the TWAB and they were like, the grind is long and too difficult. We agree. And it's like, I'm lost right now because you agreed 2 weeks ago. And then you said you were going to do all these things. And now you're saying, what?
And if a major update is just going to consist of them adding 3 okay-ish activities and making you play them at -60 or 70, I don't really know how you're doing in the replayability department.
Why would we do something that makes sense?
Yep, I don't know what to do.
Whether or not they even get this balance right, there is a very big issue of lack of content overall being added to the game. Yes, a power grind can be fun at times, but it requires content in the game that I want to replay. A repackaged version of Overthrow from the Pale Heart and an exotic mission that just feels like a strike is not enough content to hold over this community for 6 months. And while we're talking about Bungie's attempt at replayability for content in the game, we haven't even begun to talk about their attempt at making destinations more replayable with Kepler. Oh, Kepler. Where do I begin? Bungie's attempt at revamping what new destinations means for the gameplay. Previously, a new destination meant that you would play it for the first 2 weeks, do the campaign, and you don't really go there again. And it takes a lot of time and resources to create these destinations. People on the outside of the community may say, then just don't make new destinations, focus on other content. But this is just not the answer. We want a new place to explore. And just because we don't really utilize them doesn't mean get rid of them. It means give us a reason to go back. Well, they tried. Not to say it isn't a valiant effort, but it just doesn't work. And I appreciate Bungie trying new things, and I think this is the way to go in the future. But let's take a second to break down where I think Kepler went wrong. The first thing that comes to mind when I think about Kepler is becoming a ball. With Kepler's world design and gameplay loop, Bungie really wanted to switch things up and give us destination-specific abilities. And instantly, I realized 2 major flaws with this decision. Since we've never used these abilities before, and they are nothing like anything we had before, the game spends a lot of time teaching you how to use it. And while I don't think the abilities themselves are awful, that doesn't mean take up 70% of the narrative with learning this ability. Instantly, all of the destination abilities kind of lightfalled themselves. In one of the previous expansions, Lightfall, we saw the story devolve into let's play with green strings because there's a new subclass, and then it did nothing for the narrative at all. While I think the writing of the story on Kepler is pretty good when you get to it, it is few and far between until the very end. And even if the dialogue you're hearing while doing all these mechanics have something to do with the narrative, the whole experience just becomes incredibly drawn out, and I don't get to focus fully on the narrative while I play a game of find the hole.
Oh, it's right there. Jesus Christ.
Because 70% of the story insists on me learning these abilities that I literally can use nowhere else in the game. Which is the second issue with destination-specific abilities. Destiny is a game about build crafting, it is a game about getting loot, becoming more powerful with time, and then taking that into other forms of content and using it there. And hear me out, I don't even hate the ball. But the moment you made it destination specific, you made it fucking useless. Not only have you drawn out a pretty good story that I would have loved to experience without all of the fluff, but you've also given me something with all that time that I literally just can't use. Now, I don't know about you. When I unlock something in a game, that comes with the understanding that I can use the thing. If you unlocked the hidden character in a Lego game and then it said, actually, you can only use that on the character selection screen, you'd be like, what the fuck is going on? And I totally get what they were trying to do, but when you have a fan base that won't accept the fact that the red subclass does not exist,
Stop. This can't be fucking real. That's the point with all of this. There's no new subclass coming.
Brother, turning into a ball at one specific place in the game was not the answer. And I totally understand that Bungie probably doesn't want to bloat the game with a new subclass added to the sandbox every single year. But we've seen the effects of adding things to subclasses and revamping stuff, giving us new supers, new aspects. Look at Heresy. Episode Heresy added 3 new aspects, one for each class in the game, one specifically being Storm's Keep. These new aspects and build crafting capabilities, coupled with a decent story and replayable content, got more people on the game, and people were excited about it. Yes, the player numbers aren't as high as like a new expansion, but we could see that that's something that resonates with the player base and works. Why are we not just adding things to subclasses that already exist in expansions that don't add a brand new subclass? Why do the darkness subclasses still only have one super? Why is it so out of this world to ask for new aspects to be added? Add new functionality like bolt charge.
They don't need a new subclass, but they do need alternate strand and stasis supers. I will agree with that. Hold on. I will agree with that.
These are all amazing ideas, and yet here we sit in one specific destination turning into a ball. And for anyone that doesn't really play Destiny or hasn't played the Edge of Fate, you might be saying, well, Kepler was designed to be more replayable. We're going to revisit it, so these abilities will be used. Well, let me tell you, brother, I'm not fucking going there. Bungie's answer for making destinations more replayable was removing strikes, having no activities, and introducing something called world tiers. World tiers allow you to pick the difficulty level of the destination that you were loading into, in turn dropping better loot for you, for your power grind, and your gear. But sadly, difficulty on Kepler means making 3 annoying chickens in a cave, 3 boss level chickens in a cave.
Oh my, what?
Kepler on the hardest difficulty, Mythic, or the one below it, Fabled, is the most painful, boring, bullet spongy thing I think I have ever played.
I'm gonna pass him.
Oh, we got him here. Oh, no we don't.
No, it's okay. Big super.
Suspend his ass.
I can't, he's a boss. I used all of my shotgun straps to do 1-2 punch on this guy. All 3 of them.
When you have the guy in the community, Salt the Grepo, who was asking for the whole game to be harder, complaining about how bullet spongy and annoying it is to deal with enemies in your game, yeah, you fucked up. And generally, I'm not a player who doesn't mind doing an activity if it's not the most rewarding or the fastest thing, as long as I'm playing with friends. But this?
It is legitimately a dungeon boss. Like, this is crazy. No shot!
No, I'm good. Having no strikes, no activities, and just having us replay campaign missions on instafuck difficulty is not a way to bring me back to this destination.
There's a Cyclops in here.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no.
It's a boss.
Oh, shit.
I think we're
Behind him.
gonna have to
I
exact this guy.
got a crit on him. Oh, we got, I'm dead.
Dude, why is it like in this tiny ass fucking corridor?
This is it.
Yes. Time to kill the Cyclops.
Are you going to tell us why you are here?
Watch this strat. Can you stop fucking spazzing out, bro? Oh my god!
That shit was so fucking funny. One bullet and your body goes fucking flying.
Especially with how much time the missions take because everything is so bullet spongy, it's just not worth it for a level of fun or the gear. And yet again, doing anything on Kepler's Mythic difficulty just isn't as rewarding as doing solo ops. And we're back to the same issue. On top of this, Kepler feels just as isolating as solo ops because it's a solo or fireteam instance destination, which in my opinion was not a good idea. It made sense for the final shape, making the Pale Heart a solo instance destination, but that made sense with the narrative at the time. It was this giant culmination of 10 years, and we were going to execute the one thing that we needed to do to cap it off. But when you're trying to rekindle that D1 fire, new story, new mysteries, new experience, they even used Destiny 1 music. We needed to feel that community aspect. Why not at least allow us to load into the difficulty of Kepler with other players that choose that same difficulty? Make the sieve rewarding and difficult, but a public event where people in the instance need to group up to do it. Even the world design itself feels isolating and restrictive. I have never had this much trouble following and navigating the level design of a destination, but it's really hard when every single corridor just looks like a xenomorph took a shit in the Grand Canyon. I mean, just look at how much mystery and intrigue is in the concept art. What happened? For fuck's sake, Kepler even got shorted in the portal. Bungie's new baby. There's one activity, and guess what? It's a fucking solo op! Okay. I guess what I'm trying to say is, it just really pains me to see Destiny move further and further away from its MMO-like elements, all while not even providing sufficient amounts of content or polish to the parts of the game that are already there. Like, how long have we been asking for more MMO-like elements? Clan halls, player housing, fishing. We had fishing! And obviously there are developers there that want to do these things. They're probably just told no. But if you're telling me whatever executive is saying no to clan halls and player housing and doesn't see the dollar signs for selling cosmetics for those spaces, and of course I want ones to be unlockable through raids, dungeons, and other forms of content, but you damn well know they're putting some in the Eververse shop. And you're really gonna sit here and tell me that if they release a Savathic shrine for your D2 Gunnar Cave that you're not buying that? I mean, you are. I'm not some weirdo. Anyway. But on top of all of these issues that we've talked about and ones that we've missed because there genuinely just is so much, I can't go over it all in one video. The cherry on top of all of this is the release of Destiny Rising, a game that has an actual new player experience and an onboarding process that isn't absolute hell and confusing to go through. A new player experience that drops you off in a actual social space that feels like there is actually community there.
Oh, what the fuck? These other players here.
A game that actually has social features like clan halls and fishing like we have been asking for so long.
What? You could just sit? It's like these little quality of life things, dude. A cat? You can pet the cat. You can feed the cat. I just got something for petting the cat. What the hell? Is that fishing shit?
And all of this runs on the fucking phone.
Just giving everyone thoughtfuls.
Everyone's getting thoughtfuls in this game. This game is the thoughtful game, you know? They had thoughts, you know? They had thoughts when they made the game. They said, hey, should we put fishing in? They thought about it. Thoughtful game.
And let me stop you before you think I'm saying that Destiny Rising is a better game than Destiny 2. It's not, and it's entirely disingenuous to even compare the two. On a fundamental level, they are very different games. One is held back by being on a phone. It's a mobile game, and it's also a gacha game. One where you log on, do activities to get currency to unlock new characters, or what a lot of people will do, you just buy them. And the gameplay loop while playing very obviously revolves around that. You get on the game, you get your currency either through playing or buying it, do a 10 pull, and hopefully get a tier 5 goth mommy. God, we have problems in this community. But Destiny Rising isn't some replacement for Destiny 2. They are fundamentally entirely different things. But when playing Destiny Rising, it almost feels uncanny. It feels weird. The bag of mixed emotions that I have looking at this thing that feels so familiar. Having all of the things that I have wanted from Destiny, but it just not quite being Destiny.
What the fuck is that? What?
At times, it really does feel like the developers of Destiny Rising just made a list of all of the things that we've been asking Bungie for, and they just put it in their game. And for the life of me, I can't wrap my head around why social features and changes that we've been asking for can't be a priority for the development pipeline of an expansion. The decision making in what they add in these expansions just doesn't make any sense to me. Why can't you incentivize us buying an expansion by adding more social features tied to that expansion? Fishing could be worked entirely into the system instead of just being a seasonal gimmick. You're changing how the loot pool and leveling and everything works already. Why couldn't you build clan housing to be built into that? Why, instead of adding features that apparently don't make money, are you doing these workarounds to add features that we don't even want and then charging money for them? Why are we turning into a ball? On top of all of this, everything that we've mentioned so far, there are countless bugs in the game that slip through each release and update. The fact that they can't do Sparrow Racing League or huge community events again? And why do we finally get a firing range and it's broken? And what happened with the day one raid, Bungie? What is happening? With all of this considered, I feel it's painfully obvious that the game is just kind of fallen apart. and smaller issues with bugs piled on top of the wants and needs of the community. Thinking about all of this, as sad as it is to say, I think this is why it's time to move on to a D3. All of these systems can't expand anymore on what was built for 10 years ago. And I know they have upgraded the engine, they've made changes, they've made it possible to do bigger things, but how much bigger can we push this thing until it just all breaks? I don't think the framework or infrastructure allows for them to create what we've been asking for. And to be clear, I'm not saying that they need to switch engines. Switching engines would just complicate things further. I'm not a game dev, but from the little time I've spent inside of game development and starting that journey for myself, I can assure you that a new game engine does not solve any of this. The lead engineer at Bungie has even gone on record saying if they ever did do a D3, no, they would not change engines. They would just upgrade their existing one. And that's entirely valid with the logistics of transferring things over and having them constantly break, having people relearn a new system when they could just do what they want to do in the one that they currently have. Believe me, the engine can be upgraded and it can handle more. I don't think that's the issue. I think the issue is that the game at a fundamental level was developed for things 7 years ago, and it has changed and grown so much, and this community that they have cultivated with this thing that they've created is asking for more, and I don't know if Destiny 2 itself can actually do what we want it to do. And I know a D3 wasn't in development, I know it's probably not in development now, and I don't know if it ever truly will be. But I still want to try. So allow me to pitch my overly ambitious, most likely impossible, and probably stupid idea for Destiny 3. You hit the startup screen for the first time. The name, Destiny 3, appears not in front of space, but over a landscape of the Cosmodrome. You head through picking your class and doing character customization, signing into your Bungie account, although here I do want to highlight returning players coming from D2 and brand new players to the franchise will have slightly different experiences loading up a new character in D3. After watching your normal expository cutscene at the beginning of most Destiny experiences, new players will start the game as if this is their first time ever being resurrected, and this will continue through the quest line of the first campaign in the game. And it's just something extra that has a bit of quality of life to make sure that if someone is brand new to the franchise, they don't feel like they need to know everything when they're jumping in. Also reinforcing the idea that this is a new beginning. This is a great time to jump in and become a part of this world. For returning players doing the same beginning quest line, since it's their first time playing the game, there would be a story element that's carried through, creating mystery already, but continuing into the quest line that makes us crashed on the Cosmodrome with no way of contacting the Vanguard. And from this point forward, it gives you a quest, and for all intents and purposes, you are in a patrol space and you can choose what you do from here. Obviously, the beginning of this quest will have a proper and sufficient tutorial, unlike what we see in the game now. Spending a little bit more time with the player, saying these are your abilities, this is your full kit. And this would be spread out through a couple of quest steps that actually separate that progression in understanding what the sandbox in the game looks like. Maybe it starts by giving you just one gun and your abilities, so you have a little bit of time to get used to using those, and not shoving everything down a new player's throat in the time span of 2 seconds. Unlocking the sandbox a little bit slower for a few missions or a part of a quest line in the beginning of the game would majorly benefit new players, probably actually giving the game a chance. And returning players, very obviously, would probably blitz through most of this anyway, which leads me to talk about the destination as a whole. As you've probably heard my frustration with destinations and the turn the game is taking currently, destinations would be nothing like they are now. If anything, the closest thing to what I'm imagining is a destination in vanilla Destiny 1. Now hold on, I know this sounds like we're taking a step backward, but hear me out. I know everyone that has played Destiny for a very long time remembers when Vault of Glass came out and you got to see players starting the raid, opening the Vault of Glass in the actual patrol space. If you wanted to jump in and help them open the raid up, you could. Seeing other fire teams running around in the middle of a strike if it passed through a patrol zone was so cool. The world felt alive. And now we inch closer and closer to the game just being a catalog of things you click on and hit launch. Bungie says they want destinations to be more replayable, to be utilized. Well, fuck the portal. Make the destination the portal. Put the activities that players want to play in a hub world that you want us to go to. This is the screenshot that inspired me to make this video. And I was looking at it just imagining, what if in this mountain there was a dungeon, and down here at this structure there was a strike, and another activity over here, and there's a public event that we're passing by that's going on over there. For destinations in a Destiny 3, I'm thinking about it very much so in a RuneScape-like way. Right now, the destinations in the game are a pretty low level difficulty. Bungie has tried both allowing us to select the difficulty or crank up the difficulty, like we saw in Neomuna. What I'm saying is have the world be all difficulty. You just have to go seek out what level of difficulty you want in what activity. I know everyone remembers playing the D1 Alpha or Beta and being in the Cosmodrome, running down some rusty stairs and finding that absolutely horrifying question mark leveled knight. You couldn't kill him if you tried. If you tried to run past him, you'd die. And it just felt like there was so much mystery, so much more to be discovered. Do that to the entire destination. Have certain dungeons, strikes, quests that are tied to just being a higher level. That's why new players, average level players, and endgame players will all interact with this space. And right now you're probably saying, well, I don't want to have to run all the way to the other side of the map to launch an activity that I want to do if it happens to be over there. And I hear you loud and clear. That's why mounts and fast travel work entirely different in Destiny 3. Upon finishing the first quest line and reaching the last city, you will be awarded with a sparrow. The next quest line will eventually earn you a ship so you can leave the Cosmodrome and go to the next destination, but you then have to complete that quest line. On top of this, there will be fast travel nodes around the map, but you have to unlock those, and not just by doing some arbitrary fetch quest, but the questing progress that you're doing that works you through the campaign, story, and leveling will allow you to unlock more fast travel locations. Each POI that you can fast travel to in the open map once you have unlocked it will have a number of activities, be it strikes, dungeons, public events, and other things that you could do in that area. Once completing that quest line and earning your ship, you are then able to move on to the next destination in the game. And upon getting to your next location, going about another quest line, unlocking fast travel points, getting further in the story, and leveling up even more, you may receive a quest line that makes you go back to the Cosmodrome. And then you will interact with different activities that you didn't have access to at that point because you weren't a high enough level for them yet. And this cycle repeats throughout every destination in the game. That's why from ground zero, if you're a new player, you don't have a million things thrown at you. And for players that are just on the level grind, it is actually enjoyable to do that level grind. But there's also always reason to go back to past destinations. All the activities that you had played before can be turned up in difficulty, and public events in Destiny 3 would not be like public events in Destiny 2. They shouldn't be something that can be easily completable by just one person. And when I originally pitched my idea for this, Jake had mentioned Escalation Protocol, which at the time I didn't play the game, but that is basically what I'm pitching. A bunch of escalation protocols where you need like 9 people to actually successfully complete the public event, and then it actually is rewarding, incentivizing players that just fast traveled into a POI to go do a strike with their friends to all jump in and help out everyone else that's doing it. Maybe if there's a certain amount of people in a certain area, it gets triggered and everyone gets a notification. That's why everyone can rush to it and work together to complete that event. And now just imagine if there were also places where you could go fishing in this open world, and then if you went to the tower, it was actually the tower and the last city, a last city where you could have player housing, a clan hall, put the firing range next to shacks and make a whole PvP area. PvP players, I see you. You can just load into a match right there. I don't play a lot of PvP, so I don't know how to help that part, but believe me, I'm assuming it would be better. New maps. That's all I got. I don't know. Either way, all of these things just won't happen in a D2, even anything close to it, because the system that they're working with doesn't really allow for it. Because of how many activities would exist in one area, the map would need to be very, very large. And because of how many players would need to exist in single instances, it would be very hard for the game to manage that. On top of that, I'm imagining locations and destinations changing with the story, which is very, very difficult for them to do right now. Evidence pointing at Nessus during episode Echoes. We got a visual update to Nessus, but it never happened in the patrol. It's just too much work and too difficult to update places that have been existing in the game for that long. Because from the beginning, the system wasn't designed for them to do that. But because of all these underlying changes in how the game would fundamentally be developed, so many other issues would be circumvented. Destinations would be revisitable because they'd be the place to go to do everything in the game. And designing a system from the ground up, allowing you to make changes to that destination and add and implement new features, keeps that thing fresh and new and in the game. And allowing us to have things like clan halls and player housing would alleviate other issues on top of finally delivering the community's want for it. It's my understanding that the Destiny 2 tower load times are so long because you're loading a bunch of vaults in at the same time. If you tie these vaults to solo or fireteam instances in clan halls or player houses, it alleviates that issue. That, or develop a system from the ground up that handles it better, which in D2 is becoming more and more of an issue every day. 700 vault spaces sounds like a lot, but is not a lot when we have to start worrying about armor sets with different set bonuses, different kinds of rolls, getting different tiers of weapons with different god rolls, and I really shouldn't have to delete exotics and reclaim them and re-upgrade them or whatever it is, and delete the progress that I have on them, even if it's just a kill tracker, to maintain my vault space. And obviously, as I'm writing this, I don't have an answer to every issue. I don't have an idea for every kind of player, but I do just want this thing to be better. I want it to embrace the MMO-like mechanics that it wanted to have in the beginning. I want Destiny to remember what it wanted to be. I even had a dumb idea to bring world materials back. Except not world materials, because I know that sounds awful, but faction materials that would just drop from the type of enemy faction that you are fighting against in whatever kind of activity that you want to play. Maybe every week there's a specific faction material that has some kind of deal and you can swap it out for upgrade materials or other things. Maybe you can trade it for currency to work your way toward getting cosmetics. Maybe there's an exotic crafting system and you use that to craft new exotics and you need certain ones for certain quest lines that would end in an exotic mission, and maybe each destination for the week has its own GM and you go to it and it's like a special curated high difficulty version of that mission that is on that destination, but each destination has their own for the week, so there's still some player choice and things to chase after. I don't know. I don't have all the answers. I'm not a game dev, I don't even know if any of this is possible, and we know it's not happening. But whether it would ever happen or not, that's my idea for D3. And moving on means a lot of risk because we're giving up a lot. All the progress we've made, all of the content that has been added to D2, while most of it will never come back, raids should be reprised, but even if they were, we're waiting a very long time to have those. We are losing so much if we get a D3, and I was just pitching what I think would make it worth it for me, making it feel like a world that's alive again. A world where I can see other players doing activities and enjoying the space that they are inhabiting. One that's full of community and I can see and interact with that community. One where endgame is actually endgame and raid nights still happened in my Discord server. And I know I'm asking for a lot, but that's why this video isn't how to fix Destiny 2. It's what I think a Destiny 3 would be. Something that would be worth leaving everything else behind. I just want Bungie to remember that Destiny wanted to be an MMO, to have a sense of community, a social experience, to all jump in and be lost in this world together. When Destiny 2 launched, I don't know how far they planned on pushing it into that MMO space. All I know is the community doesn't want it to be a single player game. And with every decision that they're making right now, it just feels more and more like one. And like I've said a million times, I'm not a game dev. I don't know how difficult it would be to implement certain features that we've been asking for. I don't know the systems that they are working with, the limitations that they have that are built into this thing from years ago. But if I'm gonna give them this much shit and tell them, as someone that is not a game developer, what I think the game should be, I figured that I'd have to step into the ring. And I got really curious as to what building a destination like this would be like. And I reached out to some people and I ended up meeting David from ET Gaming, someone who develops games in UE5 and also happens to have a passion for preserving everything Destiny, who thankfully, for some reason, agreed to help me out where I was struggling in making the world's roughest mock-up of what I think D3 would be. I basically just made a really bad open world environment, and thankfully David allowed me to use some of the assets that he has painfully reconstructed, and everything else that you see which is actually working in this was not me. And now, finally, I'm gonna pack up the game, send it to Jake without telling him what it is at all, and together, we're gonna hop into Destiny 3.
D3_final_final_final.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then go ahead and hit host. I'm gonna jump.
Oh, brother. Oh. This shit.
Oh!
Shit.
Motherfucker!
Go chest.
Yeah, chest. Huh? What the fuck?
Some vandals T-posing over there. Can't slide.
We did not set up animations for them, so they just kind of glide over.
The fuck is he
I
doing?
think they're dead. I think they're dead. Yeah, they're dead.
But he's spinning. He's still spinning. Oh.
Remember we were talking about that night, and I was like, I had that screenshot up, and I was like, imagine if like a patrol zone housed all of the activities you would do, and it was a giant space where like raids, strikes, public events were like the size of Escalation Protocol, and they all existed in a space. Make it feel like more of an MMO. This is my attempt at doing that, and then I very much underestimated how much work it would be, so this is what we got.
And I'd be lying if I said that making just this one little environment wasn't an absolute test of my patience. But also tagging on the just switch engines argument, just moving these things from different versions of UE5, starting in 5.0, going to 5.6, going back to 5.4, because a bunch of things would constantly break. This was a constant headache, and even this small, little mock-up that I have made was weeks of time.
Oh shit!
We're going in.
He's a boss?
Even just getting things to work that I built from the ground up in Unreal Engine 5 wouldn't work in a different version, and I couldn't figure out why. It took me so much troubleshooting just to get what you're seeing here. And I guess what I'm saying is, game development is hard.
All right, I'm very proud of this, the framing on this section.
What the fuck is this?
It's missing texture. Don't look at that. No, turn around. Fuck that shit. Get out of there. I did my job the best I could.
Oh, engine's open. Let me out!
I got you.
Oh, he's already done. The sniper's a little OP.
Oh, watch out, watch out, watch out! I almost hit you with gun.
Oh, this is Grass of Avarice model.
Alright, I need a new gun.
I never want my arguments for what I want to be introduced to a game or what is wrong with a game to be taken as just flip a switch and fix the problem. Because that's not how it works. I had whole days where I couldn't get one thing to work the way I wanted to in a system that I had already done it in before.
The actual mechanic works. I think it'll just kill you.
I think he's dead.
I think he's dead, yeah. There he goes. Wait, where is he going? Why is he going?
He's floating away. What the fuck?
Oh, I love it.
Let's see. Oh,
Don't kill me! Oh, you got outbreak! What the fuck? Secret chest over
outbreak! I got outbreak! Mom, get the camera.
The chances of you actually getting outbreak there.
Wait, is that just not a guarantee?
No, it's entirely random.
Oh.
I don't know where the bad decisions come from. I don't know the limitations, the restrictions that they're working on. I don't know what's going on inside of Bungie. And I do respect everyone that works on this thing that I enjoy so much. I am just so confused as to where we're going right now. When someone is creating something, no one starts off and says, I want this thing to be shit. So no matter what the idea, the feature, the implementation, someone thought it was a good idea, and maybe it just doesn't land, it just doesn't hit in the way they thought it would. And that's fine. I want Bungie to try new things. I don't want people to watch this video and step away thinking they shouldn't take any risks anymore, because I'm glad they tried to do something with Kepler. I'm glad that Renegades genuinely looks really cool, but I don't know if that's going to work. I have to play the thing, and all I can tell you is what isn't working right now. And all I'm asking from Bungie is a bit of clarity.
If it's Shahan, I will kill you. Is it Drifter? It's you! It's literally you!
Outbreak on the horizon. Sword. Now I'm pretty sure that was Axis down there, but I don't see any Siva around. You know, Guardian, this kind of reminds me of an update that came to Destiny 2. Snow everywhere, returning to old locations. It just seems like there was something missing. On top of that, last night when I was having dinner at Eris's apartment, she told me some Guardians aren't even getting loot for doing activities 60 levels under. Raids don't give you loot, PvP is still a mess, and I don't even know if anything's happening with Gambit. Shit, I'm just a story character now, and they're still expecting me to run Gambit in these conditions. Now I don't know what kind of mess you got yourself into here, but this sure as hell ain't D3. But whoever made this bum-ass map should have put Siva in it. Now I know, game development is hard. It just doesn't seem like they're listening. Don't bother listening to me anyway though. They left me with just Gambit for years. And sure, every now and then a new player will come around, but it just ain't the same. Well, I should probably get going. Think they're sending me over to Tatooine in another IP so I can be ready for December when we got lightsabers and blasters. If this was a full game, you'd be off to the moon next anyway. So remember, Hive, bring a sword.
A sword. Bitch.
You can say one thing one day, say you're hearing us, you hear the feedback and you're listening, and then release a twab that is so tone deaf and opposite of what you just said. That doesn't feel like you're listening. And at the end of the day, the idea that I have for Destiny 3 probably doesn't work for everyone. But through listening from the people around me to my own thoughts and experiences playing the game, I have come up with this idea for Destiny 3, and through listening, over the years hearing everyone say what they want out of this experience, we don't need a Destiny 3. We needed a Destiny 3. From the moment you had to sunset and vault a bunch of the content in the game, the conversation of D3 should have started then. With the state of Bungie right now, with Marathon, Destiny 2, Sony, I don't know what is going to happen. But one thing's for sure is that it's not starting development on D3. These things take years to make. And I think if we're gonna do a D3 and leave everything behind, this thing would be an MMO. It would be fundamentally an entirely different system. But for the time it would take to develop that, the moment that we had to vault content and go into Beyond Light and post that, if they had started development then, I truly think they would have had something relatively close to after the final shape. But we know that not to be true. And if they started now, we're not seeing a Destiny 3, even if they had the capability to do that, until into the 2030s. So no, we don't need a Destiny 3. We needed a Destiny 3. And that's just not happening now. So now we have to pick up the pieces and save what's there. I don't know how to fix Destiny 2. I don't know what needs to be added, what needs to be changed, and what they can even do with the limitations they have. And although Renegades does give me hope for the future of this game, and I swear if that cantina is not a social space, I'm gonna lose it. One thing is for sure. I'm glad I was a part of whatever this is. And I will continue to be a part of it until it is no longer a thing. And if you made it this far into the video, thank you for watching, and thank you for listening to me share my opinions yet again on the internet. And if you enjoy Destiny at all, or if you've fallen off and want to enjoy it again, share this video around. Get Bungie's eyes on conversations that are happening inside the community. I would also like to extend my thanks out to Johnny, Xavier, and especially David. Without David, I definitely would not have been able to make this mock-up in time for this video, or at all. But he also gave me a lot of good insight on what is possible in UE5, what might be possible in Destiny's current Tiger engine, and why we're not seeing certain things that we've been asking for in the game. Either way, if you're into game development or just Destiny preservation, go check out the stuff on his channel and in his Discord. But yet again, thank you guys for watching. Think about hitting subscribe and joining the community over on our Discord. And maybe one day, I'll see you in Destiny 3.
What is this?
It's Tez.